Good morning, Carolina Village. I'm so glad that you have joined me for another session of the Village Vitality Series. My name is Aline, and today we'll be focusing on love for our sequence. And those of you that haven't joined me for very long, you might be thinking, how are we going to address love when we're talking about a physical exercise class? So, the way that we'll accomplish that will be working on it both from an emotional and spiritual standpoint, as well as, of course, a physical standpoint. And so, physically, we'll be doing a lot of heart opening. A couple reasons why this is so beneficial, especially for folks over the age of 60, is because as we age, we tend to develop what's called a kyphotic posture or extreme kyphosis, this rounding forward. Some of you may have personal experience with this. It gets to the point, if you don't address it, where it becomes a permanent posture. And it is actually not possible to straighten up and open the chest. And so you see these folks walking around, and you may be one of them. Um, and you might think, oh, well, why don't they just work on their posture and just sit up a little taller? But what happens is the musculature gets bound. So we tighten, tighten, tighten in the chest. We get weak. And in the back, we're not strong enough to open up, lift up, and correct that posture. And then here, we're too tight. So even if we were strong enough, we're too tight here to allow for this opening. So with today's class, we'll be addressing a lot of stretching to the musculature in the front of the chest and across the arms. Also, another reason why this is so beneficial is a lot of the muscles involved in this area of heart opening are secondary breathing muscles or accessory breathing muscles. So the diaphragm in our rib cage is the main breathing muscle, right? But our pec minor, so we have pec major on the front here of the chest. If we peel that away, we have what's called pec minor. Those are really important accessory breathing muscles, intercostal muscles between each of our ribs, and a couple other muscles that we'll be addressing today to stretch and strengthen to help with that, not only posture, but also breathing. Because if we're able to breathe better, we're able to get more oxygen into the body. It's better for all of our organ systems, and it makes our body more efficient. And this area is also the home of the fourth chakra, Anahata, or the heart chakra. And so with this, we have certain glands in the endocrine system that are associated here. And so we're helping regulate some of our neurotransmitters in our body with this type of manual stimulation of this area. So lots of cool things. Let's get started instead of talking all about it. So for today's class, you really only need your chair and, of course, comfortable clothing. I do recommend being barefoot. Of course, if you have existing health conditions where you are required to wear footwear when you're doing pretty much anything and everything, then you'll leave those shoes on. But I highly recommend it. We'll be working, as we always do, with some ankle and foot movements. And then with our semi-standing and standing postures, it'll really help you fine-tune the little muscles in the feet. It can help with plantar fasciitis if you have that issue with the real tight bottom of the feet. So yeah, highly recommend it. Now you'll notice I do have a mat as well as yoga blocks today. These are optional props, although I do recommend them, especially if you have hard flooring wherever you're practicing. It's nice to have the padding under you for our semi-standing and standing postures, and also it can help keep the chair from sliding around. The blocks, I really recommend regardless of whatever surface you're practicing on, and I'll continue to show things with and without the blocks, so just in case you don't want to purchase those yourself. Okay, so let's get started. We'll be doing a centering technique this morning focused on bringing love in and sending love out. With that, we'll be working on our square breathing. It's kind of becoming my new favorite breathing technique. My favorite used to be unequal ratio, where you extend the length of the exhale, but I am really liking the effects that I feel personally from square breathing. So just as a refresher, it's typically 4 counts and 4 parts of the breath. So it's a 4 counts inhale, 4 count hold, where you're not inhaling or exhaling, a 4 count exhale, and then a 4 count hold. Now, everyone, excluding those of you that have uncontrolled high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, you're not on medication for it, or your medication is unsuccessfully controlling it, then you will probably want to omit the holding. So you'll just do a 4 count inhale and a 4 count exhale. You could also play around with just shortening the length of the hold, maybe a 4 count inhale, 2 count exhale, or 2 count hold, 4 count exhale, 2 count hold. So you'll be making more of like rectangle breathing. And of course, anyone that doesn't tolerate, if you go through the breathing technique and you're just not feeling good about that 4 count breath retention, don't do it or shorten it. So it's really up to you. But that breath retention can have a lot of wonderful benefits. I don't want to go into it because I want to get us started, but some other time I'll recount those. So for this technique, I do recommend, since you'll be both breathing and trying to count your breathing as well as visualizing. Let's go ahead and just relax back in the chair so we don't have to also be thinking about the posture. So scooting all the way back, try to get your hips all the way back as well. So that will help keep you in a more open posture and discourage that rounding, so that you're kind of able to open up, even kind of really trying to let the shoulders rest back. If you would like to, hands can be on the thighs. You could bring a hand to the heart to just help with extra stimulation to the space and to the heart chakra, which is basically one of the major energy centers in the energetic practice of yoga. And so with a hand there, we're kind of stimulating our attention to that space. Maybe even feeling the heartbeat, which is a nice thing. All right, so once you've gotten comfortable, you're all set up with your equipment and your footwear or lack of. Let your eyes close whenever you're ready. And we center before class to bring a sense of awareness to our bodies, to our breath, and a stronger intention to our movements. And there have been studies done on this, that when we work with mindfulness versus just moving our body through space as the teacher tells us, we see more muscle activation, we see more coordination in the body, basically just more effectiveness to all of our movements. That mind-body connection. So as you're sitting here, maybe tapping into the heartbeat, feeling it against your hand, and starting to observe how you feel, how your breath feels in your body today. And whenever you're ready, begin that square breathing practice, all through the nostrils, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and holding for 4 counts. And if 4 counts seems very daunting to you, remember you can always count faster. So try to stay with that count of 4, but you just may be counting very quickly to accommodate for your breathing today. Just like we do with our muscle effort, though, we do want to challenge our breathing. And find that edge. And so keep going. 4 counts inhale. 4 counts hold. 4 counts exhale. And 4 count hold. Start to bring more awareness as you breathe here and count. Bring more awareness to the rib cage, to feeling the expansion between each individual rib when you inhale, and feeling the release on exhale. Notice the subtle movements brought to the body upon inhale and exhale. And try not to strain the body on that breath retention or holding. So if you notice your eyebrows squeezing together, clenching your jaw or curling your toes, see if you can relax those holding patterns. And if you can't, even when you bring attention to them, it may mean that you do need to drop that breath hold and just focus on a 4 count inhale and a 4 count exhale. If that arm is getting tired against the chest, go ahead and just switch arms or switch hands. And as you continue to breathe here, working with your square breathing or your Samavriti equal ratio breathing, on your inhales, begin to envision, maybe even see in your mind, drawing in love. This is love directed towards yourself. No matter if you're satisfied with your body, if you're satisfied with your health, if you're satisfied with your life, those should not impact your love for yourself. Yet they often do. It's very hard to separate. So as you inhale, feel that love coming in, whether you believe it or not. As you hold the breath after the inhale, feel that love spreading through your whole body, maybe even seeing it as a beautiful green emerald light in your body, the color of the heart chakra. And as you exhale, you'll send that love out to the world, maybe to someone specific or just to everyone in general, or maybe a specific community like Carolina Village. And as you hold the exhale, just see that love spread. See it go in just like you're drawing love in on your inhales. See it going into those that you're sending it to. And see if you can stay with this visualization with each breath, inhaling that bright, vivid, beautiful green love into your body, into your nostrils, filling your body on that hold. And then as you exhale, sending it all out. And as you hold the exhale, visualizing who that love is going to. Or even just cloaking the entire world in this beautiful green light. Stay with that visualization. Maybe even each breath you send that love to someone different in your life. And in this way, we practice a sense of activism just by sitting here and breathing and getting ready for our class. we can change our perceptions, we can change reality. And so feeling that love for yourself so that you're able to send love to others. Each breath is an exchange. Stay with this for about 3 to 5 more breaths. Visualizing as much or as little as you would like. And in visualizing, you are sharpening the mind-body connection. And possibly changing yourself and others. And when you're ready to let go of this exercise, this breathing technique, after that last breath retention, so after your exhale and then retention, you can drop your hand. And perhaps keeping the eyes closed or just keeping the eyelids heavy, so just cracking those eyes open. Come to the edge of your chair. So scooting forward, bringing those feet about, or knees about hip width apart, feet under the knees. Sitting up as tall as you can now, just trying to stack the parts of the body on top of one another. So the hips form our base, the ribs stack over the hips, the shoulders over the ribs, and the head over the shoulders. Trying to draw those ears back so that they're in line with the shoulders. And if you would like to, you can bring back your square breathing for this next exercise, just a simple neck release. So what I recommend, if you would like to do that, is that you take a exhale. So we're kind of starting this breathing technique on the exhale instead of the inhale. So exhaling for 4 counts, dropping that ear to shoulder either way. Breath hold for 4 counts as you drop the chin to the chest. Inhale for 4 counts as you press the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. And breath hold for 4 counts as you lift the head back to center. So exhaling 4 counts, ear to shoulder. Holding the breath 4 counts, chin to chest. Inhaling for 4 counts, other ear to other shoulder. And breath hold for 4 counts, bringing the head to center. Try that one more time in the same direction. Moving at your own pace. I was probably moving perhaps a little faster than you might go if you're following your counts. But of course, everyone's going to be a little different. Try to maintain that nice upright posture. And then you're just going to reverse directions. So on the exhale, dropping the opposite ear to opposite shoulder as how you began. Holding the breath, chin to chest. Inhaling, other ear to other shoulder. Holding the breath to bring the head back to center. Cycle through 2 more times in this new direction. And if you're not wanting to continue that square breathing, you don't have to. Just try to maintain normal breathing. One more time. And once you bring that head back to center, if your eyes are still closed, you can open them now. You can release that square breathing technique, and let's start to move down into the shoulders. Go ahead and shift around if you need to, if you do have trouble with the feet falling asleep when you sit still for a while. And to roll those shoulders out, let's try opposite movements. So as you press, let's say, left shoulder forward, you're going to draw the right shoulder back. And so you're just working kind of one shoulder at a time. And as one shoulder goes forward, the other one goes back. If that's a little too confusing, you can, of course, do any variation of shoulder circling that you would like to. We just want to get the shoulder joints warmed up, get all of these muscles on alert, and let them know we're going to be stretching them and strengthening them here in a little bit. Go ahead and reverse directions of your circles. Notice my torso is moving a little bit. Usually I cue you guys to isolate the movement to the joint that we're working on, but it is okay if you're getting a little rotation here in the chest, as long as you're still feeling that opening in the shoulders, which you should be. All right, and relaxing back to center here. Let's continue, and again, maybe shifting. Get that blood flowing, that oxygen to the nerves. We'll continue here to work down the spine and get a little more into the chest now. So send those hands forward. Start to scoop out, round out through the back. Exhaling. On your inhale, opening those arms out to the sides and trying to act like you're squeezing the backs of the hands towards one another. Like if you could, you would actually touch those hands back behind you. Pressing the belly forward, opening that chest, probably feeling a stretch here, squeezing those shoulder blades together, but also pushing the shoulders down. So that's your inhale. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. If the arms start to get tired, you can certainly drop them, but this is a great way to start stretching those muscles. We have to have those arms lifted in order to get, or to maximize, get the most stretch. If you can, 3 more breath cycles here. Of course, like I said, you can always drop those hands. Try to keep them lifted for this last one. And on your next exhale, just relax those arms down. Maybe swing the arms out, decompress, possibly shift again. I do want to go through a bit of a abdominal activation here. 2 options. If the arms are very tired, shoulders are tired, bring the palms together in front of the chest. If you can manage it, come to, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, genie arms. And this will help to strengthen the arms and shoulders. And so we're doing that deep, hard engagement of the abdominals, as if you could just squeeze it all in like you're wearing a corset or a girdle. And that really is what we're trying to accomplish energetically in the muscles. And so especially as you twist to the right, you'll engage that whole right side. Exhaling, inhaling to center, exhaling left, inhaling center. And so don't feel like you're just moving the arms and shoulders. In fact, don't let them move until you powerfully engage. Inhaling to center and exhaling to your twist. One more to each side. Getting those abdominals warmed up and more for the spine as well. Getting into those ribs. And go ahead and relax those arms. Let's start moving with the legs and hips now. So starting with some toe taps. Hands can come down by the sides. You can even grab under the chair. Try to stay lifted. Left leg first. We're going to tap as far out and open to the side as we can without moving the torso. And then back to center. So this one, it is very important to isolate to just the hip moving. And so tapping and tapping. Going fairly quickly. Just about a half a second pause in between. So again, we're warming up into the hip. We're getting a lot of these muscles woken up, working on range of motion, working on strength. And we're still just warming up. Go us. All right, one more time. When you tap it out to the side, we're going to hold it out there. You maybe even can walk that foot a little further out if it's accessible for you. And then go ahead and start to lean over to that left side. If you do have a block, you could even use a block here, just depending on your flexibility and comfort. I'm just going to go with my elbow on the leg, personally. And we're just going to work with a little bit of chest opening, shoulder opening here. So we're trying to keep that chest open forward, thinking of the right shoulder pushing back, left shoulder pushing forward. With this right arm, let's take it and bring it across the front of the body, reach it out, circle it up, around, and down. So we're just kind of holding this side stretch, getting into the groin, getting into the rib cage, and just working with these slow, gentle shoulder circles. Again, trying to get as much range of motion as you can, meaning you're trying to make the biggest circle possible. But we always want to work either pain-free or it should be a gradual intensifying of pain. If you get any sharp shooting, pinching, just sudden pain, that's your body cueing you to stop whatever you're doing. But if you're getting like a slow burning type pain or a slow gradual pain, that's normal. That is your body adapting. All right, one more circle. And on an inhale, come up. Go ahead and bring that foot back to center, straightening out that left leg. Let's lean back just a little bit, bringing this left hand behind you for support. Right hand extends out in front, and just lifting that left leg enough to be able to move the ankle comfortably. And we're going to point, make a fist, flex, and spread the fingers. So remember, movements like this are great for those suffering from arthritis in the joints, especially, of course, in the hands. And working on that ankle mobility and strength to really help with our fall prevention and just being able to walk better without feeling like you're tripping up or shuffling. Engaging the core a little bit here too with that slight lean back. Try to keep that heart open. And notice, like, I'm really gripping tight. Like, I'm engaging all these tendons here. So you're really working through powerful engagement of the muscles. And go ahead and relax. Shake that leg out. Quad probably started burning a little bit. And let's do those toe taps and this exercise on the other side now. So centering again, nice and tall with the stance. Hands can just come down to the sides, to the hips, whatever works best for you. And you're tapping and tapping. So out and in. Of course, if you want to work the arms more in terms of strengthening, you can hold those arms out in front of you. You can even work on coordinating the movement. So several more taps here. Hip might be popping. For me, I typically only pop on my right side. So you'll notice these patterns about yourself as you practice with mindfulness and observation. All right, the next time you tap out to the side, stay there. Send that foot down, possibly even walking it further out to deepen your stretch. And coming down into a little side bend to that right side. Right shoulder presses forward, left shoulder presses back. And hand could come to a block here if you prefer. Again, I think I'm going to do elbow. Just since this is a beginning movement, I'm not warmed up to where I feel really comfortable with the hand on the block. And we're just going to cycle through with that left arm now. So circling down, but not allowing the chest to cave forward. We want to keep that chest shining, heart shining, sending that love out to the world. And again, you're just trying to make the biggest circle that you comfortably can with that left arm. And remember, if this does generate any sharpshooting or pinching pains in the shoulder joint, don't do this part. Either just hold this side reach or just relax that arm down by the side. But if you can, you're circling, breathing, sending love to the world. We need it. I guess we always need it, but I feel like we really need it, especially here in 2020. Real special year for all of us. One more circle. And you can slowly come up to center. Send that right foot back to center. Straighten out that right leg. Leaning back, supporting yourself with that right hand this time. Nice long length in the front of the body. Left arm comes out. Lift that right leg just a little bit. You're pointing hard, engaging those calf muscles. Making a fist hard, engaging those forearm muscles. And then flexing and spreading those fingers wide. Engaging both ways, really. You're just engaging different muscle groups. Keeping the abdominals toned here, so we're not just doing this. We want to focus on keeping that chest lifted and therefore engaging the core. And not just the front of the core, but the back as well. It's just a little more subtle because we're focusing on the foot and the hand. One more. And relax. Shake out the legs, the arms, whatever kind of decompressive movements you need to do. Let's get ready for our first vinyasa. And so with this, we'll be folding forward, either arms up, swan dive, or hands on the thighs, depending on what kind of support you need and where you're at today. So let's take an inhale. Everyone, lift those arms up. And on your exhale, decide where you want to go with those arms as you fold forward. Uttanasana, or your seated forward fold. Releasing down once you get here. Letting that head hang heavily. Remember your blocks, super useful in this forward fold, both as support. So if you want that support of being able to press into something but you can't reach the ground, this is wonderful. Or as a deepener for the stretch. You can reach those arms out in front of you, hands on the blocks. It doesn't necessarily take you deeper into the movement, but it does increase the stretch for the back. Remember, you can always adjust the block height to accommodate for your ability level too. Blocks are also great if you don't want to drop the head below the heart. Maybe you get dizzy, you get vertigo, and then you can stay here and still get a lot of the benefits of your forward fold. As you're ready, slowly start to come up on an inhale. And when we come up, we want to find a straight back as quickly as possible. So as soon as I can, I'm lengthening out. I'm lifting up with the back of the body. Maybe hands are on the thighs. Maybe I'm bringing my blocks up with me to get them out of the way. And I'm coming up to seated. And from here, let's take our back bend, reaching those hands back behind us, grabbing either side of the chair. And on an inhale, pressing, I kind of start at the navel. So the navel presses forward, then the ribs, then the chest, then the chin lifts. And just taking a breath or two here, just like we did in our forward fold. On an exhale, relax the arms. Let's stretch the pecs a little bit more. So starting with this left hand, I'm going to turn the palm out to the side. And I'm going to grab the chair. From there, I'm going to start to just open my chest out to the front. And that may be plenty of stretch, and you may want to stop there. But you may want to even start twisting towards that right side. And you should feel the stretch in the chest, especially across the shoulder joint, but possibly even into the bicep as well. And so rotating away any amount. Maybe even leaning to that right side a little bit. Just experimenting with increasing that stretch. And slowly come back to center, release that arm. Relax both arms down and just notice the difference between the two arms. Pretty big difference that I'm feeling. And let's switch, or let's even that out. So right hand will grab behind that chair. Remember, the palms facing out to the right side. Start to open the chest forward and basically just keep going until you feel that, oh, yep, got the stretch, gonna stop there type sensation. If you're pretty flexible across the chest, you can use that left hand to just kind of pull you deeper into the twist. Haha. To deepen that stretch. Again, maybe leaning a little bit after you've been holding it here for a minute. And on an exhale, releasing the twist, releasing the arm. And let's get back to a little bit of core engagement and hip flexor strengthening. We'll always do that no matter what the theme of the class is. Let's bring the palms together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. This is an intentional placement of the hands, basically as a mudra. So you see in yoga, like sometimes people meditating like this, all different ways to put the hands. So hands together. We're going to twist to that right side. And remember, this is not shoulders. This is abdominals creating this twist. Powerful engagement. Let's lift that right knee in. And breathing here, we're going to pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. And back to center. So hopefully with that pulse, you felt that amplify the core engagement and feeling it in that hip crease as well. Exhaling to twist to the left. Breathing here, lifting that knee to the chest, and then pulsing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming back to center. Let's do that several more times to each side. So initiating that twist on the exhale, powerful engagement. Inhale to lift that knee, and then breathing here as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling to twist to the left. Inhaling to lift. And breathing as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming back to center. Let's do that 2 more times on each side. Exhaling right. Inhaling knee up. Pulse. 2, 3. Make sure you're not holding your breath. 5. Exhaling, twist. Inhaling, lift. And then breathing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Releasing to center. 1 more to each side. Exhaling right. Inhaling knee up. Pulsing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Releasing to center. Exhale left. Inhale lift. Pulse. Breathe. 3, 4, 5. And release. Excellent work. If you'd like to do a little counter stretch here, just opening up those abdominals. So I'm sending that weight back, pressing forward, lifting. Just getting a little counter stretch. All right. Now we'll work towards gate pose, moving to the left side. So I'm going to straighten out this right leg. Just take a little reach forward. Get those hamstrings to wake up a little bit. Calf muscle here. And coming up. So we're just doing a little micro hold there, nothing long. We're going to open out to gate pose. Might want your block here. Yes. You might want both your blocks here because we'll be doing a forward fold in that gate pose. You can go ahead and put one on each side of that front leg if you have them. And so with gate pose, I am totally shifted sideways in my chair. Here, if you have arms on your chair, this is where it's a little challenging, but you can kind of be at an angle. So those arms are right here. And you just want to try to make a 90-degree angle with your legs. Okay. So in my gate pose, we're going to work on a little bit more chest opening. So sending those hands back behind me, and I just, so you can see me, hands, fingertips are facing down. Sorry, I got to shift this little box out of the way. And I basically have my hands on my SI joints. So either side at the top of my pelvis or top of the glutes, fingertips facing down. And as I breathe, what I'm going to try to do is press into the hands and squeeze the arms together. Okay? So I just wanted you to get the visual for that since you can't see my back like this. So hands come to that space. Inhale, squeeze the elbows together, press forward through the belly, press forward through the chest. Exhale, relax. It's a deep stretch across the chest especially. Inhale, open, press, squeeze those elbows. Exhale, release. One more time. Pressing, squeezing the elbows together, pressing into the palms, lifting and opening, and releasing. Let's bring that left hand to the chair. Inhale that right arm up and exhale into a side reach. Nice long line you're creating. You could even lean your whole arm, lean your elbow over into the chair. Just make sure you're not dumping into that shoulder and letting this happen. Okay, so we still, even if we're leaning, we want to stay lifted. So if you think that it's too tempting to sink down, then I don't want you to lean at all, okay? But from here, we're going to just try to open out any amount. So I'm trying to open that chest up, send that arm back any amount, and then release back to center. Open and center. One more time. This time, let's hold it here, maybe a breath or two. Feeling all those sensations. We're stretching in a lot of areas right now. And coming back to center. Take an inhale to lift up. Again, just observing differences in the whole rib cage on either side. And let's just take a nice little restorative forward bend here. So if you don't have the blocks, you're just going to have those hands on the thigh. Don't press into the knee. You're just going to lean forward as far as you feel comfortable. Maybe even hands coming or fingertips coming to the ground or fingertips to blocks. Just feeling the stretch in the groin here, in the back, maybe even in the hips. When you're ready, slowly start to come up, possibly just carrying those blocks with you. And releasing back or coming back to center. Can send those blocks to the sides. Finding seated mountain pose. For another vinyasa, our last one for class today. So when you're ready and you're finding your foundation, pressing into the feet, pressing into the hips, lifting out. On an inhale, you'll send those arms up. Exhaling to fold Uttanasana or your forward fold. Should have told you to just keep those blocks. So you may want them again here in a more supportive stance. A little bit of a deepening stance. And wherever you are in your forward fold, try to let go of tension, tightness, clenching anywhere in the body, especially in the head. Often we'll try to keep the head lifted instead of letting it just dangle down. If we can allow it to dangle down, we can get that lengthening or tractioning in the cervical vertebrae as well. So the little vertebrae in the neck. When you're ready, you'll slowly start to activate the back again to lift back up. Trying to find length in the spine as quickly as you can. Engaging those back muscles to come all the way up. And let's find that back bend, that chair grab back bend. So reaching back, now that we've done a good amount of chest opening, you might want to try the back bend with both palms facing out, just like we did with our pec stretch. And just see how that's a little bit more intense in terms of the heart opening. Either way, you're going to inhale, trying to press the navel, ribs, chest, chin forward, like you're pulling away from the back of the chair. Taking about 2 to 3 breaths here. On an exhale, releasing that back bend. Palms together in front of the heart. 5 more of our twist and pulses to each direction. So finding length. Deep exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale, lifting that knee. And breathing as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. And release. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Breathe as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Powerful engagement. Your muscles might not do it automatically, just as you're twisting, even when you're doing this pulsing. I can really disengage here. It's kind of amazing. And rely on just my hip flexors, maybe a little pulling in my back. So you have to actively engage. So try it. Twisting right. active engagement, especially on that right side. Inhale, knee up, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Exhale. Inhale, breathing. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. 2 more to each side. I think I talked too much and I lost track. Exhale, twist. Inhale, up, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. Exhale, twist. Inhale, knee up, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. All right, on this last one, really trying to keep that length, chest open. Let's go for it. Exhaling right, inhaling knee up, pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. Last one. Inhale, knee up, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Excellent job, guys. Perhaps stretching those abdominals if you would like to. Opening up through the front of the body. Maybe even wiggling a little bit, kind of stretching one side and then the other side. Slowly coming out of that. Let's take a little counter fold, straightening out that left leg, hinging forward, just getting those hamstrings a little stretch. Again, we're not going to hold this long because we're doing that forward fold in our gate pose. But just getting those hamstrings, because when we forward fold and gate, we're stretching hamstrings, but mostly inner thighs. All right, and this probably feels good on the back too, because no matter how great your posture is, when you do core strengthening, it does also work the back typically. And so you may feel a little strain in that low back. All right, let's shift over to gate pose. On the other side, you may want to grab those blocks and go ahead and place them on either side of your front foot for that forward fold. And so remember, with your alignment, 90-degree angle here with the 2 legs. Trying to root that foot down. Foot is in line with the hip. So I don't want it to be forward or behind. I'm trying to get it right in line. And here, lifting and opening. Let's bring those hands. I should have just started on this side so you could see my hands. So hands on either side of the hips. Inhaling to press forward, squeeze those elbows together. And exhaling to relax. 2 more breaths like that. Last one. And relax. Right hand comes to the side of the chair. Left hand inhales up. Exhale into your side reach. And remember, if you can stay lifted, I recommend sending this elbow and even the upper arm over to the chair for support. So I'm going to just move my hair out of the way so you can see that a little bit better. And then you're trying to open that chest forward, send that arm back, and then release. 2 more times. Last time, let's try to hold it for a couple breaths. Shining that heart as if you could shine it up towards the ceiling. And release when you're ready. Inhale to come back up. And exhale, let's take that fold forward. So remember, maybe hands are on the thigh and possibly bringing the elbow to the thigh. Really try to drop or push that left hip down. You should feel that increase the stretch in that left leg. And if you're lucky enough to have blocks, really recommend using those here. And remember, again, depending on your flexibility, changing the height of those blocks. Or possibly just touching the ground, again, depending on your flexibility. Try to relax tension here. Especially in the face, the neck. And when you're ready, you're going to slowly come up. So if you've got blocks, maybe bringing them back to that highest position and possibly coming up using your back strength and holding onto those blocks as you lift. Go ahead and release to center. We're coming up to standing for just a short standing sequence to work on the balance and a little bit more on leg strength. And so optional, if you can come out of your seat without using your hands, I would love for you to try chair pose. Unless balance is a huge, huge issue for you. And then you just may want to make sure you have either another chair in front of you that you could grab hold of, or something like that, or bringing your chair close to the wall. So if you've got a block, squeeze it between those thighs, walk those heels in. So even if you don't have a block, you're basically creating a block's amount of space between the legs, so about hip width apart. Sending those heels back, sending those arms forward. Let's actually bring the hands to the heart here so we can hold this a little longer. So lifting up out of that chair, but staying hovering over the seat. Remember, we want to engage the core and the back, but we don't want to tuck like this. We want to keep that back long, keep that anterior or forward pelvic tilt, but not disengage in the abdominals. Quads are taking the brunt of this effort. Whew. Glutes, hamstrings is all working. Breathe. And slowly start to straighten those legs. Maybe inhaling the arms up. And exhaling. Relaxing those arms, sighing. Yes, we made it to standing. Let's take the blocks, get them out of the way. I'm just going to put mine all the way off to the side. And for your standing work, if you do have a yoga mat, you're going to want to shift that chair forward. So we want plenty of space behind the chair. We're going to be working on a Warrior Two triangle half moon sequence. So let me show you. For this, you will be sideways to the chair. So those of you who are thinking, Auline, I can't do that, I need both hands on the chair. Try this out in a shorter stance. So let me demonstrate. In terms of your feet, they can be just shoulder width. That's the minimum width I would recommend. Or wider, depending on your balance, depending on how deep you want to go. So let me demonstrate both real quick before you start. So a narrower Warrior Two, for those of you with worse balance, with a little less strength, or just more fear in general, is going to look like this. So it's a very short lunge, less engagement in the quad, less risk of losing your balance because you're just a little more under yourself, okay? Those of you that can, please push a little harder. So open that foot a little further out. And again, the toes next to the chair are angling, so it should be your right foot is angling towards the chair, and you're bending into that knee. So this is kind of a medium warrior two. And then a full warrior two, you're getting that thigh pretty much parallel to the ground of the bent leg. So deep version, medium version, light version, okay? So pick your stance. You don't want this front foot to be too close to the chair because of what we'll be doing next. So warrior two, hand can come to the hip. This back arm can reach out. Both arms can reach out. Again, just depending on your comfort level. Slowly start to straighten that front leg. Again, maybe even if you have both arms out, you bring the hands down for this transition. So we're straightening the front leg, not allowing it to lock out. So it's straight, but still a little bit bent. You're going to lean that right shoulder towards the chair. Chest is staying open. And then if you can and want to, you're going to send that left arm up. And I don't know why I told you to throw your blocks away. Well, I didn't say throw them away, but I threw mine out of the scene. You could have this right hand on a block. All right, from here, we're going to try to transition to our main balancing posture, although all of this works your balance. Half moon. So bending into that right knee. Now, the wider your stance is, the harder this is going to be. So I'm going to recommend that you inch that foot in a little bit. This left hand can come to the chair, back of the chair, right hand to the seat of the chair. And you're trying to lift up and remain open to this side. So for some of you, you may look like this. Again, if you're too close to the chair, you risk lifting those chair legs as you're trying to push into it. So I do recommend either backing away from the chair a little bit or having that hand in the seat of the chair. And so both hands can remain on the chair. Or, you can try to lift that left arm. But again, it's not worth it to push past your limit and fall. Okay? So I want you to be so careful. Do your best. Maybe, again, both hands are staying on the chair. Maybe you're up here, both hands on the chair, and you're just kind of leaning with that leg lifting. Take one more breath wherever you are. And slowly release. Shake those legs out. I am going to move my chair for the other side just so my back's not facing you the entire sequence. All right, so now you're going to turn with your left hip facing the chair. Taking any decompressive movements that you might need to. All right, so left hip, left hand. Remember, maybe just hip shoulder width apart. Maybe a little further, or maybe even a little further. We're going to turn those left toes towards the chair. Bend into that left knee. It's very important, and I'm not sure I mentioned it on the other side. I apologize if I didn't, that we don't let that knee move forward. Let me show you from the side so you can see that visual better. I want my knee to be in line with my toes. It's very common for this to happen. Tight inner thighs, just not paying attention, you name it. There are a million different reasons why. But really try to activate, engage to draw that knee back in line. We really want to protect and strengthen that knee joint. And that's how we'll do it. So finding your warrior two, perhaps this back arm lifts. Perhaps both arms lift. Couple breaths here. Again, feeling that heart shining forward. Transitioning to triangle now. I recommend hands coming down unless you have a really good sense of balance. You're straightening that front knee. So this is straight. This is locked. Straight, locked. no locking. Want to keep it straight, so kind of a micro bend. Start to reach forward and down with that left shoulder. So it's not my chest reaching down, it's my shoulder. Maybe my forearm can come to the back of the chair. Maybe if I've got that block and I'm pretty flexible, my hand comes to a block. If you feel okay with it, lifting that top arm up. You could even bring hand, just kind of depending on your chair. Feeling that stretch. We've been working up to this pose. Now the trickiest part, transitioning into half moon balance. So hand on the back of the chair. You can just go straight into it. Or you may want to bring hand to hip. You may want to walk that back foot in, both hands to the chair, shifting that weight in the foot, and then lifting that right leg. And maybe it only lifts this high. That's fine. You're just trying to open the hips and open the chest. And again, I recommend if you can reach the seat of the chair with that left hand that you do. So to make this more challenging, you're trying to lift that leg. You're trying to maybe send this arm up. Whoo, and you're breathing. So remember, you may look nothing like this. Maybe you're right about here. Again, that is totally fine. Self-love, no judgment, no hate. You are where you are. You're here taking this class right now because you want to improve. That right there is love. So don't spoil it by hating yourself for not being able to go into the deepest version of the pose. It's really easy to do that. I know, because I struggle with it all the time. All right, so testing that balance. When you've had enough, and you're just going to relax out of the pose. Nice job, y'all. That was a pretty challenging sequence. Let's do a little decompressive stretch here. One of my favorites. Basically 2 options. You can do a traditional downward dog. Nice little stretch to the sides that we worked real hard. If you want to get a little more into the hip opening and inner thigh opening that we were doing, you can do a wide-legged variation of this. So remember, you're just trying to walk those feet as far away as you comfortably can from the chair. You're trying to open that tailbone up towards the ceiling, keep a little bend in the knees. Maybe even letting that chest and head sink down to get into that chest opening, shoulder opening. Just taking however many breaths feels good to you here. You might want to, I like to increase the stretch on each side by just kind of shifting my hips. So maybe bending that left knee, pushing that right hip further back to kind of stretch out that right side of my back. And then switching. Whenever you're ready to come out of this, slowly start to walk those feet up. Let's come to our final relaxation. I do recommend, if you are watching this on your computer, you can pause it and do a pigeon pose on each side. If you're watching this on the TV, I'm really just trying to keep this to under an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm not going to do that. But remember, pigeon, you either cross ankle over ankle or ankle over thigh, and you hinge forward until you feel that stretch. Hold it on each side for about 30 seconds, up to a minute if that feels okay to you. For those of you on the TV, it is time to relax. You can always do that stretch after, or you can do it instead of relaxing, but then I really want you to relax at the end. So, Shavasana, it's so important Remember, this is our way for the body to integrate the entire practice. So we've done all of these things, chest opening, we've done the mindfulness of sending love, opening the heart, working on posture. This is the opportunity to let it set in to the body. Okay? So it is important, even though it looks like we're just laying. So either moving to your couch, moving to an armchair. Your body temperature will cool very quickly here. So you may want to grab yourself a blanket or a jacket if you had taken it off because you got really warm from the practice. So find your comfortable position here, using as little muscle effort as possible. Closing the eyes and just trying to let go, both in the physical body and in the mind. And if your mind just won't settle, bring your focus back to that idea of love. Perhaps envisioning again any individuals that you would like to send your love to. Seeing them as if they were standing in front of you. And then beginning to see the space of your heart and that green ball of light circling the heart. Seeing that same energy in those people that you're visualizing. And then seeing this line connecting your heart to everyone else's. Sending and receiving love. And whenever you're ready, letting go of that visualization, just resting in this sense of unconditional, ever-present, powerful love. And now the real question is, can you send that kind of love to everyone that you come in contact with every day? It's easy to send love to the people in your life that are close to you. But can you manage that same level of compassion to everyone? Feel it in your heart that you can, that you will, that you will do your best, that you will change the world. When When you're ready to bring back movement, start just by deepening the breath again. Feeling that deeper, fuller movement in the rib cage, in the chest, just by breathing fuller. And then sending that movement to the fingers and the toes. To the ankles and the wrists. To your full body. Maybe taking a nice long stretch. Oh. And bringing yourself up to a seated position gradually. And if you're laying on the floor, maybe you just stay there to conclude the class. Drawing the palms together in front of the heart, thumbs tapping into that heart space. And may this power for compassion and love and kindness shine out through every thought, every action, and every word. Namaste. Thank you all for sharing your practice and joining me today for deepening that connection emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. I hope you enjoyed the class, and I hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.